In the summer of 79 AD, Pompeii woke up like any other Roman city. The sun rose over stone streets, tiled roofs, crowded homes, and quiet courtyards. In the distance, Mount Vesuvius stood above the horizon, calm, silent, and familiar. Merchants opened their shops. Bakers prepared bread before sunrise. Families began their routines. To the people living here, this was not the beginning of a disaster. It was simply another day. But within the next 24 hours, this ordinary Roman city would disappear beneath ash, stone, and darkness. This is Pompeii's final day, reconstructed with AI. Today, Pompeii is remembered as a city frozen in time. But before it became a ruin, it was alive, full of noise, trade, politics, religion, pleasure, and routine. Around the Forum, men discussed business, gossip, and public life. Traders sold goods. Priests entered temples. Workers moved through streets that had been repaired again and again after earlier earthquakes. In the bakeries, ovens burned hot. Round loaves of bread were placed inside stone chambers. The smell of smoke and grain filled the narrow rooms before most of the city was fully awake. Inside wealthy homes, walls were covered with color. Mythological paintings, garden scenes, red and yellow rooms, fountains, and courtyards made Pompeii far more vivid than the pale ruins we see today. The streets were paved with large stones. Raised crossings allowed people to step over mud and waste. Wheel marks from carts cut deep grooves into the road. Pompeii stood near the Bay of Naples, one of the most desirable regions in the Roman world. The land was fertile, the sea was close, and wealthy Romans built villas nearby. Wine, olive oil, fish sauce, pottery, grain, and fruit moved through the city. Pompeii was not just a quiet town. It was connected to a larger Roman economy. At the baths, people came not only to wash, but to meet, talk, relax, and be seen. In Pompeii, public life and private life constantly overlapped. There were theaters, temples, taverns, gardens, workshops, and houses of pleasure. This was not a silent world of marble. Pompeii was crowded, colorful, loud, and human. On the morning before the eruption, life probably began as usual. Water was carried, floors were swept, doors opened. The city moved into the rhythm of another ordinary Roman day. Many of those who kept the city running were enslaved people. They cleaned homes, carried water, prepared meals, served families, and moved almost invisibly through Roman daily life. At food counters, people bought simple meals from large clay jars built into stone counters. For many residents, the street was an extension of the home. Some may have noticed small tremors, but earthquakes were not unusual here. Pompeii had already suffered a major earthquake in 62 AD. The people had rebuilt. They had learned to live with shaking ground. Even 17 years later, repairs were still visible. Cracked walls, restored temples, and unfinished buildings reminded the city that the earth beneath it was never completely still. But Vesuvius itself did not look like a threat. Its slopes were green. Farms and vineyards spread across the land. To many people, it was simply a mountain. Today, we know Vesuvius as one of the most dangerous volcanoes in Europe. But in 79 AD, many people may not have understood what it truly was. Warnings may have come in small ways: tremors, strange sounds, animals reacting, perhaps unusual smoke. But none of these signs clearly announced the scale of what was coming. Then, sometime during the day, the mountain opened. A massive column of ash, gas, and volcanic rock rose high into the sky, spreading outward like the crown of a dark tree. At first, it may not have seemed like the end. People looked upward. Ash began to fall. Small stones struck roofs, streets, and courtyards. Curiosity quickly became fear. The city's routine broke apart. Shops were abandoned. Families rushed indoors. Some people gathered belongings. Others tried to understand whether to stay, hide, or leave. Ash and pumice began to accumulate. Roofs grew heavy. Streets became harder to walk through. Every minute, the familiar city became more dangerous. Inside homes, families faced impossible choices. What do you take when your city is falling from the sky? Money, jewelry, food, children, documents, gods, or nothing at all? Some tried to escape through the streets, but falling stones made movement dangerous. The air filled with dust. The ground disappeared beneath a growing layer of volcanic material. Others may have moved toward the sea, hoping boats could carry them away. But darkness, falling debris, and confusion turned every route into a risk. As the eruption continued, daylight began to vanish. The sky darkened. The sun disappeared behind ash. Pompeii entered an artificial night. Breathing became harder. People covered their faces with cloth. Ash entered homes, streets, mouths, and lungs. The city was no longer a place of shelter. The weight of falling material crushed roofs. Some who stayed indoors were trapped. What had once protected them now became another danger. Through the night, Pompeii changed beyond recognition. Streets filled. Landmarks vanished. The familiar paths people had walked their entire lives became almost impossible to follow. Above them, Vesuvius continued to erupt. The column of ash towered into the sky. Lightning may have flashed inside the volcanic cloud, turning the mountain into a terrifying silhouette. Then came the deadliest phase. Superheated clouds of gas, ash, and volcanic debris surged down the slopes. These flows moved fast, carrying heat and force beyond human survival. For those still in Pompeii, escape was now almost impossible. The city was swallowed by heat, ash, and darkness. In a short time, the living city became silent. When the eruption ended, Pompeii was buried. Streets, homes, paintings, tools, bread, furniture, and personal belongings disappeared beneath meters of volcanic material. For centuries, the city remained hidden. Life moved on above it. Empires changed. Languages changed. The people of Pompeii became memory, then legend, then silence. But the same ash that destroyed Pompeii also preserved it. When excavations revealed the city, they uncovered not only buildings, but moments of daily life frozen in place. A bakery still held bread, walls still held color, streets still showed the marks of